Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, tech support. I could have used them yesterday in Wilson at the North Carolina Baseball Museum, but I didn't need them, actually. I had Joe Giglio to help me out. Joe's so proud of himself.
Things no one would have ever guessed. Ever.
Joe's like, I got a smaller Ethernet cable, and what's this box do? And then you're so proud of yourself because we got the golf tournament on Friday, and you like did something on an app, and you got like scrolling corporate champion logo.
Yeah.
Like, you're so proud of yourself.
I am. Now I have to give points to the pastor to Chris. Okay. So he helped me. But I did upload the images and add the sponsors all by myself.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good
and
for
all the
you.
Teams. Now he had to show me how to add the team tea time, the whole thing. But it was a big project yesterday. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very, very busy yesterday.
You had a very, very awesome tech day yesterday.
I did.
Yeah. So a little bit of housekeeping before we actually do housekeeping. We recorded a conversation with American Conference American Conference Commissioner,
the American
Tim Pernetti. This is a guy that Joe's been chasing down, like Jersey boy, like I know, like you know a guy who knows a guy who knows Pernetti.
I know one of Tim's best friends.
Okay, well there you go.
My sister is friends with one of Tim's best friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to link up with Pernetti for a while now, and we had a scheduled time, but through some circumstances, Joe
circumstances.
Through some Wilson's, Joe learned that things move a little slower in Wilson than the big city of Raleigh, right? So I get back here and you're not here, but you were resourceful. You were resourceful.
I tried.
It's like, I know StreamYard works through a phone. So you pulled over to the side and you got your phone. So anyway,
that was a mess. I had to text Tim and say, listen, man, I owe you a Natty Light. Now, in full disclosure, I think I said it on the interview.
Yeah.
The drink that Pete and Tim would enjoy at the Jersey Shore was called Hop, Skip, Get Naked. So
that wasn't, you weren't, so when you make that reference in the interview, that's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
What is it? It's not like an Orange Crush, right?
No. It's, remember when I would have the Natter Days?
Yeah.
The strawberry beer?
Oh.
Well, they did that on their own.
Okay.
They did, it was the canned lemonade.
I got you.
It was beer and it was vodka.
Whew, that sounds like
pour it in a
dude, that sounds like a
tub
headache. That sounds like a headache, dude.
It's delicious.
All right. Maybe one of these days I'll try it. So yeah, anyway, that's a little bit of the context with the Pernetti interview, which I thought was a really interesting conversation. He's a really interesting guy.
He is an energetic, forward thinker, problem solver.
Which is what a conference like the American needs.
Yeah, and when he was at Rutgers, to your point, that's the way he was at Rutgers too.
Yeah.
Like you can't just think normal when you're at a school like that, and you can't think normal when you're running a conference like that. So
now, speaking of college athletics, we got some quick hits here between college football and the NFL. Mike Gundy, he's a man. He's fired.
So we now have something in common with Mike Gundy for the first time.
What's that?
We've both been fired. We've all been fired.
Are you surprised they actually did it now? I mean, I guess after you get boat raced and embarrassed.
No, he did it again. I want you to see the common thread now in all of this.
What's the common thread? What am I missing with the Mike? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've not exactly been paying that much attention to Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy. Just that Mike Gundy is one of these guys where you look up every season and you go, "Oh, you're still there despite despite everything. You're still there." It's kind of like Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. Like, buddy, you're still there. Now, Kirk Ferentz is he's a survivor. Obviously, that dude's still there. You've got who else? What are the longest
in Iowa circles?
What are the What are the longest tenured coaches now? Because Gundy was one of them. Obviously, Kirk Ferentz is the top guy.
That boy.
Dabo's there. Hell, Dave Doran's one of those guys, which put a pin in that. But what did Mike Gundy do that I'm missing? What's the common thread?
Mike Gundy did the same thing that Kevin Keats did last year. He openly tried to explain, we can't compete because we don't have any money.
Oh, the Dan Lanning thing.
Kevin got fired. And then this year, Mike was like, hey, yeah, I mean, they got a lot of money.
Yeah, look at Oregon, right?
They should be. When you start openly complaining
about the money,
guess what the money people who are giving you that money that you do have are going to do?
Well,
not be happy.
You always bring up Kevin Keats. You know who else did that in football?
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown
got fired.
Mac Brown got fired.
Buddy,
Mac
do
Brown
not complain about your resources aloud.
Mac Brown.
Do it behind closed doors.
Mac Brown
do not do it in press
openly
conference.
talking about how I just not getting this. What? Mac? And the same thing with Mike Gundy. Excuse me, what? You don't have the resources when you're funded by oil money? Nah, dude, come on.
Or
now.
energy money, whatever.
Or whatever it is these days. I have no idea. Regardless, that's not the reason why I bring up Mike Gundy, because really Mike Gundy has no impact on us other than the memes. I'm actually surprised, given Mike Gundy's track record, that he actually conceded getting fired. It's usually how it works. He's not getting people to show up on campus saying, no, I ain't going. You got to drag me out of here. Anyway, sorry.
It's fine.
I had to make the joke. As we mentioned, after Brent Pry got fired at Virginia, the Virginia issue over Virginia Tech. I mean,
Virginia Tech AD complaining about money. We'll see what his.
Oh, he's done. Well, the fact that Mike Babcock was complaining about the resource, or Whit Babcock. Why do I do this?
You screw up.
Why the fuck do I do this?
I don't know why it's one of my.
You know what it is? It's because my brain is slower than my mouth.
It's almost always a mic.
It's always a mic. So regardless, Whit Babcock, he's out because you notice we made the announcement that Brent Pry was fired.
So what I'm hearing on this very special episode of the OG.
Yes.
Don't fucking complain about your money.
Yes. You notice I never complain about OG money. I'm just happy to get money. Hey.
Do you guys make any money?
Dude, you know how many times we've been asked that? And how many times I want to go? We've been doing it for 2.5 years. Do you think we'd still be doing this for 2.5? Or more specifically, we got
14.
Yes. I have to look at my my notes for today. We have 14 corporate champions. Yes, I would hope that we're making some money, regardless. Whew. No, but money matters, because the thing about you get fired for a variety of reasons, but more often than not, there are 2 reasons why you get fired or why we cannot keep you around.
Okay.
In the Brent Pry situation is, buddy, we can't keep you around because nobody's going to show up, and that starts to affect our bottom line, money related. But you get to a point where Virginia Tech faithful who show up regardless, because remember in that Old Dominion game, people showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they left.
They did this week too when they played Wofford.
And well, that's the reason why you did it, is because you had to give the fans hope. Hey man, we're going a different direction. As much as we talk about Kevin Keats, there was also a matter of, ain't nobody showing up. You just went to the Final Four and you just won an ACC championship and you're not winning, which is okay. Got it. Year-to-year proposition, but nobody's showing up.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was written in the stars for Kevin when no one showed up for the banner ceremony in the opener.
And then,
or they didn't sell it out.
Then you got the Mike Gundy situation or the Mac Brown situation, where when you're openly complaining as a head coach about your resources at a place that it's really not about the resources, you're just not doing what you need to do with those resources. Hello, I'm looking at Bill Belichick, by the way. Look at all the resources he was given.
I was going to say, this is now going to be a different litmus test. What happens when you have all the resources and you still fail?
Right. So that's usually the through line. But the reason why I bring up the Mike Gundy stuff is because after Virginia Tech moved on from Pry, I had mentioned the conventional wisdom in college football circles is we're going to have a wild coaching carousel this offseason because everybody knows what they're working with now post-house NIL, which gets us to Dave Doeren and some comments that you made yesterday about things getting toxic. A lot of people I think people were missing your point about how the rest of the season's. We're not saying it hasn't been toxic. We're simply saying, and I think the best point that you made yesterday was related to Kevin Keats, in that not only did Keats get shown the door, the people who were vocal with the money got what they wanted with Will Wade. If you don't get Will Wade, you don't have proof of concept. So now you're emboldened with Dave to say, hey, we're ready for another move to reignite interest in this program. And we're going to get what we want. That remains to be seen. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you think it's going to be a wild coaching carousel, hey, man, you might not get what you're looking for. You might end up in a situation where you're really taking another flyer on a guy that is an unknown.
I really believe that Dave Doeren will be the one who chooses his future. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
At the bottom of my heart, I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to make that clear so we don't get this Herb Sendek like revisionist history of what happened.
Right,
okay. Like I'm not interested in any of this. We're doing this in real time. Okay. I want to give you a name though, because I hear you. It's going to be a very competitive market this year.
We're looking at double-digit coaches.
Correct. And I think all of those Dillinghams and Sumralls that didn't move last year are going to move this year.
Oh, the SEC is licking its chops right now for some of these guys, like Summerall in particular.
Correct. I also think you might see like a Lincoln Riley be like, maybe I want to go to the NFL. I mean, like I'm just saying, like,
what, pull a Ryan? Who's the guy at Boston College? Your guy?
Oh,
Jeff Hafley.
Yeah. Look at you.
I got the name right.
You did.
Jeff Hafley was at Boston College.
Yeah.
Looked around and said, "Man, F this. I'm going to the NFL."
The Reaper's coming.
Yeah.
I think all of those, and you know why now, by the way? Because the fever dreams are real everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If Carolina can get Bill Belichick, well, yes, we can get John Gruden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what? Yeah, why wouldn't Jimbo Fisher come coach for us? Urban Meyer?
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
we could get Urban Meyer. Why not?
Well, that actually is the dream for me.
Yeah, it's a proof. Well, no, you've already got your proof of concept.
No,
you don't need it anymore.
Now I need a college guy to do it.
Oh,
I need a college guy to do it.
I see what you're saying.
I need
someone who's actually equipped to coach in college football.
Yes, I need an Urban Meyer or a Nick Saban.
Nick Saban, I think every fever dream that's out there is in play because of Bill Belichick's presence in Chapel Hill this season. I got a name for you though, and I think this is something to keep an eye on because while I believe Boo Corrigan was a passenger in the basketball search, I believe he will be a driver in the football search. He fancies himself a football person. Remember, he was on the head. He was on the College Football Playoff Committee. He was the head of the College Football Playoff Committee. He's heavily involved in football and trying to change the course of NC State football. Tommy Rees is a former Notre Dame player, is a former Notre Dame assistant, is a former Nick Saban assistant. He's with the Browns now, I believe. He is someone that has a Notre Dame connection, is 33 years old, and I believe will end up either at North Carolina or NC State. And I tell you that, and I think NC State's more likely because I think the search has gotten, I think Bubba Cunningham has lost control over who gets to say what at North Carolina. Boo Corrigan has full control over who gets to say what at NC State. And I think he will be the driver in who replaces Dave Doeren. And I've told you this before. It's not a joke. The Notre Dame thing is real.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Notre Dame connection and you once worked at Notre Dame, like there's like a bat signal that goes up where they send each other messages that says who's next. And we saw this with Mike Elko at Duke, Nina King, Notre Dame grad.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not making any of this up. I think Boo Corrigan, Notre Dame guy, would like to hire Tommy Rees, Notre Dame guy. I think, and I was told that Tommy Rees was part of, on the low, was part of Bubba's search last year.
Interesting.
Was one of the names that no one mentioned,
but was on the list.
But
because
he's an offensive assistant.
Yeah.
You know, like Glenn Schumann from Georgia, defensive assistant, would have made a lot of sense for Carolina to go on the defensive side of the ball. But obviously, Carolina wasn't going to get the investment that they wanted by hiring an assistant. And you might say, well, how's NC State going to rally the troops with Tommy Rees? I would say this to you: in a year where Gruden, Jimbo Fisher, Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, whoever, the corpse of Vince Lombardi come back and coach football next year.
I think John Gruden will be coaching.
Bill Cowher, whoever.
John Gruden will be coaching a college program next year.
I agree. When all those things are happening and all those big schools are chasing all those things, I actually think the smart play is to get a 33-year-old coach.
I agree.
Who can relate to the players, doesn't have any baggage that comes with him about this is how we used to do it.
Right.
Doesn't have any of that, has a clear idea of how to X and O and coach a game, and also is nimble enough to say, here we go, this is how we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And by the way, would have a chance to be your coach for a couple of years. Now, of course, you'd say, well, Notre Dame, if he's Notre Dame, if he's that good, he's going to, you cross that bridge when you, just like you do with Will Wade. You cross that bridge when you get to it.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Marcus
If you have all this success and some other people want your guy, like Mike Elko at Duke, you cross that bridge when you get to it. But you take that swing while you have it. That's the name I want you to people on September 24th to write down and remember.
In other transactional news to the NFL, Russell Wilson, it is time. He's done, right?
I mean, he's not crossing the Rainbow Bridge. He's just getting benched.
No, he's done.
His career is crossing the Rainbow Bridge.
I think his career has crossed the Rainbow Bridge. He's been benched in New York for Jackson Dart. Not that I didn't think that was going to happen at some point this year. I kind of saw the vision of what they were going to try to do with Jackson Dart. But I thought it was going to happen later in the year, not so quick. But Russ continues to throw these balls that you go, buddy, this ain't Seattle anymore, man. You ain't a spring chicken. You can't do that anymore.
I can't wait for Russ to retell this story in 20 years. And all we hear about is the Cowboys game and how great he was against the Cowboys. It will be retold as how he won and he was never given a chance, but he won that Cowboys game and he still had it. So I can't wait for the Russ revisionist history. Well, it's funny when you win something, everyone believes your side of the story.
Of course.
But all of a sudden, everyone sees through the phoniness now.
Joe, winners get to tell history.
I understand. They write it.
Winners write the history. That's not a new phenomenon. But I'm ready to call it Russ, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting released by the Giants in this process, because if there's one thing you and I both know about Russell Wilson, that man is going to be annoying as fuck on the scout team. You can't have that around.
Oh, no. It won't be the scout team, sir. It'll be before the game. He'll be doing the plays on the field, remember?
You got to get that out of here.
He comes out and does the...
Right. He's doing the high knees on the plane. No. Like, nah, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. So I think his career is over. Unfortunately, I mean, incredible career. I mean,
is Russell Hall of Famer?
I'd say yeah. I mean, given the criteria,
I'd say yeah too.
Yeah, given the criteria of what's necessary for, given the criteria for the NFL Hall of Fame, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, straight up. He's also a great story, okay, which is another aspect of the Hall of Fame
story.
He's an incredible story. Now, sticking with transactional news, and I'll admit this was under the radar yesterday as we were out in Wilson and talking about the NC Baseball Museum, and it was a fun hang. I really enjoyed our time at the North Carolina Baseball Museum. But I think it's time to rename the Carolina Panthers the Carolina Reapers, or at the very least, have an alternate uniform that has an homage to the Carolina Reapers. Put a giant, pepper on the side of the helmet. And the reason why I say this is because yet again, somebody got fired after the Panthers beat that team. So let's go back to 2024 and let's go over the Carolina Reapers resume, shall we? Let's go to September 22nd. Panthers 36, Raiders 22. That was the Andy Dalton game. It ends up happening that during that stretch for the Raiders, they went 2-7 before the bye. Antonio Pierce had to fire multiple coordinators to try to save his job during that stretch, which included a loss to the Panthers. And then eventually he gets fired. Let's fast forward to November 3rd. Panthers 23, Saints 22. Head coach Dennis Allen fired after that game. Let's fast forward to November 10th. They're in Germany. Panthers 20, Giants 17 in overtime. Daniel Jones gets benched. He's eventually released by the Giants. December 22nd.
Yeah, because they didn't want to pay him, because if he got injured, they'd owe him too much money. And now, of course, he's letting the NFL on fire.
December 22nd. Panthers 36, Cardinals 30. Overtime win. Cardinals officially eliminated from playoff contention with that loss. January 5th. Panthers 44, Falcons 38. Overtime. Falcons fire defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake and defensive line coach Jay Rodgers. And now we go into this year. The Panthers get their first win of the season. It happens to be a 30-0 win over the Atlanta Falcons. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jonathan Jones, our friend, NFL insider at CBSSports.com. The Falcons have fired wide receivers coach Ike Hilliard. Hilliard, a 12-year veteran at the position, joined Atlanta in 2024. Fun fact, TJ Yates.
I was going to say, I'd prefer to look at this as our guy, TJ Yates, getting a promotion.
So I present to you this evidence. Dave Canales has taken over as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. And since his arrival, through a combination of various factors, if you lose to the Panthers, something's going to happen. Something's got to give. Do we call up our friends at MLB Raw?
I think they've already done one, because they're pretty open about how they don't want to name the team, but they've done like different designs that they thought, well, if it is this team, then this is what the logo could look like. I think they have one.
They might have one. All I'm saying is, if you look at the rest of this schedule during this stretch before like the good teams show up on the Carolina Panthers schedule, we talked about this a little bit with Julian Council of Locked On Panthers yesterday. You've got New England, Miami, Dallas, and the Jets. Every single one of those teams is ripe for the Carolina Reaper to strike again. Drake May could get benched. Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel could definitely get the gate.
Oh, Mike McDaniel, if they lose to the Panthers at Bank of America Stadium, his ass is out. He's like, buddy, you can take a car back to Hialeah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you ain't coming back. Okay? So I'm at DraftKings. I don't see anything in favor of the Carolina. I cannot get odds on somebody getting fired if they lose to the Carolina Panthers this week.
Yeah, those are like the fancy offshore sites. We'll give you the next coach to be fired, but not legitimate sites.
Not
like DraftKings.
No, not like DraftKings. Not like DraftKings. I will say this though, as I'm looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, which you can download today and use our promo code OG25. If you believe in the Carolina Reaper theory, the Carolina Panthers are right now a 5.5-point dog to the Patriots on the road.
That seems like a big number.
I agree with you on that. There's nothing that New England has done that's giving me any reason to think that they're a surefire bet against the Panthers.
Very similar in that they have a lack of talent across the board, and they're trying to find their way under a new coach.
So that's what it is right now on DraftKings. But you know what? With DraftKings, you got the live line as well. And that's what I know
can be your friend.
It can be your friend. So it's your season, your shot with the NFL season rolling along. And every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime TD props, and of course, live in-game betting. Every snap is loaded with opportunity. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG25. Again, that's OG25 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. So use that promo code OG25. That first $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, you will score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I have not looked at any of the college lines. I know you were very much like, there's nothing on DraftKings about how the fans are going to be for the NC State Virginia Tech game.
It's 10.5. I'm telling you, I went to this game 2 years ago, and it was very similar, where it was like, oh, we're going to kill Virginia Tech. And all of a sudden, you're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and you need a miracle to win the game. And you're like, what is happening?
And in honor of Tim Pernetti, American Conference Commissioner, ECU is hosting Army on Thursday night.
I know. 5.5.
ECU is a 5.5-point favorite. So Florida State's only a 7-point favorite on Friday night against Virginia?
Virginia scores a lot of points.
Interesting. I thought people would be all back in on Florida State given the start to their season.
I think the super interesting game this weekend that will tell us a little bit more about Florida State, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I know they play on Friday. It's Alabama, Georgia on Saturday.
Fair enough.
Because people are all about Georgia right now. They're all down on Alabama.
Yep.
I wonder if Alabama doesn't have a little bit of something in that eye where they're like, you think we stink? Interesting.
All right. Something to keep an eye on.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
I want to remind you, we've got a great partnership with our friends at Breaking Tea. You can go to breakingtea.com/OG to find our Dead Logos collection, like the Ice Caps, the Skyhawks, the GGO. You got the Cougars. It's all there. It's all great stuff. Really, really comfortable hoodies. But they got
the Cougars are an actual team, not 40 plus women.
but they're not Cougars to us anymore because we're in our 40s and 50s. You see what I'm getting at?
Okay.
I'm
just clarifying that the Cougars were a real team.
Yes. And I also think that we have graduated to saber-toothed tigers. I believe that's the phrase. I believe when you get to a certain point, saber-toothed tigers. I'm just going with what the internet tells me.
Okay.
Just going with what the internet tells me. Could be my algorithm. I have no idea. Regardless, go to breakingt.com/OG where you can go find the logos. You can find old Cougars, if you will, and great hoodies and whatnot. But I bring this up because we got the Carolina Hurricanes back in action. They got a preseason game tonight. It's the community game. It's $10. All that money goes to the Canes Foundation. I believe parking is a donation. So take advantage of that because it might be the cheapest you have to pay for parking this year at Lenovo Center. But they got great Cane stuff. And if you click on the link in our podcast description and YouTube description, we got a link there. It'll take you to our landing page at Breaking Tea, but that referral link will also apply to when you go over to the Carolina Hurricane section, and we get a little cut of that every time. So if you want to help the OG out, help out our corporate champions like Breaking Tea, and we get a little something from that as well. There's also the secret stash, bog.shop. Don't tell anybody. Speaking of helping us out, a reminder that if you rate us on your favorite podcast app, you leave a review on your favorite podcast app. If you're on YouTube, you've subscribed, you've joined our YouTube membership channel. We appreciate that. It's just $5. But there's also something called a hype button now.
Oh.
And the hype button acts like a retweet of sorts, a repost of sorts.
Oh, let me try that.
And it helps boost visibility with the algorithm. So all those little things help us organically. You as the listener, the audience, the community, you do those types of things. It helps boost us and visibility for other people in the algorithm. So we appreciate anybody who helps out in that regard. Speaking of hockey, we're going to be taking a lot of hockey breaks here soon.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Yesterday, I had one of those days running around rink to rink for Jacob, and I don't have time to really just sit down and make a lunch and stuff like that. You might find yourself having days like that. That's where Happy and Hail comes in the clutch. Download the app, use the promo code OG25, one-time 25% off your order. When you use that promo code, use the app, tell it when you're going to be there, put in your order, tell it when you're going to be there. It'll be ready for you to get going on your busy day. So we appreciate Happy and Hail. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now when it comes to the housing market. You'll hear a lot about guaranteed offers, and it's trying to like make you think like, oh, well, you see houses sitting on the market. I might as well do something right now. No, just have a conversation with our friends at Hometown Realty, and you'll get better guidance and actually get the value of your house rather than leaving money on the table with one of these guaranteed offers. Speaking of your home, how much are you spending on insurance right now? Do you know?
You got to have a conversation about it.
Like, when's the last time you thought about your home insurance rate? Yeah, you probably have it on automatic deduction and you don't think about it anymore. But you could be saving more money if you just called our guy, Matt Davis. InsureGarner.com is the website, 919-779-8277. Just have the conversation with Matt Davis at State Farm and see how much you could be saving. And big thanks to our friends at Rowback. I wore my Rowback all day yesterday. Out to Wilson, out to the rink. You got your Rowback on right now. I actually saw that Rowback at a big box store the other day. And every time I see somebody wearing a Rowback, I want to take credit for it.
You should.
Use the promo code OG20. You'll save 20% off your order. Again, that's rowback.com, RHOBACK.com. Promo code OG20. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is the commissioner of the American Conference. He is Tim Pernetti. Tim, thank you for joining us. I got the conference name right. These like rewiring brains here for a lot of people to get that conference name right.
Well, your brain's not the only one we got to rewire, So we honestly, listen, when you go through a rebranding, which we spent a year doing, you don't just turn it on, right? Like you spent a lot of time on it. We really were thoughtful about the approach and what it stood for and all that. But the reality is the former conference name, which I won't say anymore because I'm training my own brain, it was 13 years in, right? People got sort of like conditioned to say it, but I appreciate you getting it off to a good start.
Well, this actually ties back to how you got started, right? I feel like this has always been a mode for you. Like, let's go back to Rutgers, right? Where you had to correct people's perceptions as to who exactly was New York's team, right? I mean, that's that whole Big Ten process when you're the AD, that was reminding people, no. Hey, Syracuse, we're New York's team, right?
Yeah, we have a little fun with that. I think the thing about sports, right, is you have to strike the balance between the business side and remembering that it's sports, right? Which is a lot for a lot of people in this country is their primary outlet for entertainment. So my opinion has always been, is even as an executive in sports, is you have to be entertaining. Like to some extent, you are part of the entertainment, right? And how you communicate information. So it was pretty well known when I took the Rutgers job, like conference realignment was around the corner. And it wasn't because of some prediction, like whenever media contracts come up, conference realignment bubbles up. And things were starting to happen. And I felt pretty strongly coming out of the media business, where I was on the other side of it, that I used to, like when I worked at ABC Sports and I was involved in picking games and what do we put on in New York, there was never an obvious answer in New York. And we always used to put the Big Ten on, right? Because the Big Ten was always more popular and New York was such a melting pot of Big Ten alumni. So when I took the Rutgers job, I was on a mission to get us into the Big Ten. And part of that was creating a daily, and I'm serious, a daily narrative about what differentiated Rutgers from everybody else. And obviously primary tenet was New York. So I caught wind of it and then I saw it on their campus. Syracuse launched a campaign called New York's College Team.
I remember.
Instead of, you remember it. And I got baited by every writer on the planet saying, what do you think about that? And I was like, I just kind of punted it. What we did was we went and got the data. And the data said that the top 10 rated college football games in the New York market over, the prior, I think it was like 7 or 8 years, involved Rutgers, every single one. And you know how many involved Syracuse? 0. So instead of talking about it to the press, I just made sure the right writers had that information. So we really were on a very quiet campaign to build the reputation of, if you want to capture New York, you got to have Rutgers. And it worked. Like, I think we did a great job selling it. But at the end of the day, Rutgers going to the Big Ten was a media contract. People now are like,
you don't have to sell.
You do, but you want the Big Ten network on in New York, which translates to $500 million in new revenue. You have to have a team in the market, and that's ultimately the way it played out.
Yeah, I remember that ad campaign because locally here in the Triangle with Duke, the obvious joke was, wait a minute, Duke is New York's. What are you talking about? Come on now. Maybe even Notre Dame, but clearly not. Now, the reason why I brought that up, because I feel you're doing the same thing now as the commissioner. It's kind of like a weird full circle moment, right? Where you're at Rutgers and you're coming from the IMG Academy. You're coming from IMG and you're back now with the American, where Rutgers was. And you're kind of in the same mode here of just making people understand what this conference is about, what the makeup is, and what its role is when it comes to the future of college football.
Yeah, it's a great irony. And don't think it was lost on me when I started and spent a couple of days transitioning with Mike Oresco because, in 2012, I called Mike Oresco on the phone to tell him Rutgers was leaving the Big East, which he had just started as commissioner. And Mike is my friend. I've known him for 25 years, and I felt bad about it. Like, I really did. Like, the relationships are everything. But it is a weird irony to be in the seat now of the conference that formed itself by way of all the expansion that took place and all the departures that took place. But in a lot of ways, it's the same deal. Like, you start with telling your story. And we're really serious about telling our story because while the American has seen many different versions of itself over the years, the core elements really have not changed. And that's kind of how we rebuilt our brand as the American Conference, which is, we're out to be the most innovative conference in America. That's why we're talking about things. Like, whether we do them or not as an industry, we'll see. But when you talk about unified media rights and you talk about conference naming rights and you talk about the jersey patch and you talk about whether or not we should eliminate the preseason polls in football, which I don't think serve a purpose anymore. Like, we're comfortable talking about change because this industry has resisted change for too long. And maybe that's why we're in the situation that we're in. Like, you guys are around East Carolina. Grit is an easy one. This is a tough ass league. It really is. Like, when I go out to games, it's a different kind of competition. And I'm not just talking about football. right? And then service is part of everything you do. Like part of our mission is to leave something behind in every city where we have a conference championship, like to remember that we have a service obligation to the fans that invest their disposable income in tickets and show up at events and support us, win, lose, or draw. So that stuff is how you tell your story. You start with defining who you are, and you consistently tell that story and stay on message. And then sometimes you get the tailwinds, like we're getting right now in competition in football. Like that has really continued to elevate the profile of who we are.
You mentioned television contracts. I had some other stuff written out, but since you brought up television contracts, everybody's kind of looking at, I know we look at it here locally with our schools and whatnot. You mentioned ECU. Obviously, we're in ACC country as well. Everybody's kind of looking at 2030 for this kind of stuff. How do you position yourself, or how do you view, or how do you prepare for what is probably going to start now, because 2030 will be here before you know it. And as you know, these negotiations start happening well before that actual date happens. So what is your position on all this?
Well, my position's always been the same. Conference expansion has been going on since the beginning of time. And it always coincides with when media contracts are coming to their end, because, every conference has been looking to try to present more value in the marketplace when it's time for them to negotiate their media rights. And, in a lot of ways, that was my experience at Rutgers. Like we were trying to give the Big Ten an advantage. And the key to expansion, everybody thinks it's about like who fits in your league. You put that aside for a second. The number one thing is, from a business point of view, can you create new value by bringing that member to your league? And when I say new value, it means, does everybody else in the league benefit from more revenue, and do you pay for yourself? Like, will your media partners step up and make that bet? Because if they're not willing to make that bet, then your only choice is diluting your league. And I have sworn from the day I started that I would not do that to this league. I won't dilute the league, right? Because every dollar matters. But prepare is sort of the key word in your question. We're preparing for every scenario. Quite frankly, I'm a little tired of how this is all unfolded, because college sports has a reputation for expansion happen. It's like, let me take from that guy or from that gal to benefit myself, and their result be damned, right? So it's always about tearing things apart. What I'm wondering is, when are we going to start to build something different, right? Like, should some of these groups be talking about working together to create a more significant platform or a bigger conference? Or, should there be some discussions of strategic consolidation at the group of 5 level? Like, whether you do it or not, again, like, let's talk about change. Like, the industry is headed in a different direction. Student athletes are basically your partners in everything you do on the business side now. And I think that really demands innovative thought. And while the future in the House settlement and all this legislation is being built for the top 1%, 99% are out there, and they demand leadership and they demand a good experience, because that's what they signed up for, right? But as it relates to getting prepared, we're thinking about everything. And I'm really encouraged by the phone calls we get about interest in our league. But look, my job, Joe, at the end of the day, is I have to look at every opportunity to create more value for the American. And whether that's through commercial relationships or conference naming rights or our media contract or expansion, I'm looking at everything. But we're going to be very, very judicious about the conversations we enter into, because it has to be about creating more value for the league.
So I'm curious. I'm actually going to tie this into a conversation you had with former North Carolina head basketball coach Matt Doherty. He has a podcast that you were a guest on around sometime last year, before you had taken off to be the commissioner of the American. And the part that I thought was interesting was the conversation you guys had about instinct always wins. Okay. And you get here, you learn these lessons, you apply those lessons. So what does your instinct tell you about how things will unfold in the next 5 years? Will there be conferences? Will there be a breaking up of Ohio State and Texas realizing they've got more in common than Ohio State and Indiana when it comes to football, or Alabama and Michigan, and that group has more in common? What does your instinct tell you about the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, like everybody else, I don't have a crystal ball. And I do think over the time, and I appreciate you listening to that podcast, I've learned the easy way and the hard way to trust your gut,
Yeah.
And it's something that we're being raised in a tight-knit Italian family in North Jersey. Like, we were a gut-driven group. Like, you trusted how you felt. And I think the way I feel about this stuff, it depends on the day, quite honestly. But, do I think conferences are going to cease to exist? No, I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think the conferences are going to continue to be a thing in collegiate athletics. Do I think there's going to be movement between the conferences? Absolutely. Do I think that movement is going to be exclusively from the group of 6 up into the autonomy? No, I don't believe that. I think there's going to be movement in the midst of the autonomy as well. So I think a lot of things line up with certain dates, which, by the way, you're citing dates, right, which are tied to media contracts.
Yep.
Right. So I think that if 30 is sort of the marker everybody's put out there, then those conversations start in 27 and 28 if they haven't started already.
Yeah.
Right. And it's been no secret in our league that, we've had institutions that, like, USF hired a new CEO for athletics, Rob Higgins, who's my friend, and just a terrific, innovative thinker, business side guy. And he said it in his comments yesterday when he took the job that he said, we love what the Americans doing. We love the direction. We're going to be the best member we possibly can be. And we have bigger aspirations, which our commissioner knows. And what I like about how they operate is they're transparent, right? They're transparent. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows what went on with Memphis, a month ago and in sort of their decision to pursue the Big 12. And I said it at media day, and I'll say it again. I think people were looking for a certain answer and maybe they didn't get what they liked. I was very aware of that. They were transparent with me, which, again, I give them great credit for. And I really admire the hell out of the swing that they took. I mean, that takes guts, right? Mm-hmm. But that's sort of like how we've built the league. But I think there'll be movement. I don't think the conferences are going away. I do think that there'll be movement amongst the autonomy. There may be movement from the group of 5 to the autonomy. And there's going to be movement within the group of 5 or group of 6, which it'll become to be known, next year when the Pac-12 fields their new conference. What will happen specifically, I think, is anybody's guess. What we're trying to do in the American is prepare ourselves, whether we're going to raise private capital and bring that into the league so we have capital to work with to make compelling arguments with prospective members to join our league, or creating a vibrant commercial business to distribute more revenue, which we're doing through American Rise Ventures. Whatever it is, everything's on the table right now. And that's really been the fun part is reimagining the business.
See, Joe, he's talking your language. He's talking Jersey instincts, man. See, I learned a little bit about Jersey instincts in working with Giglio, another Jersey man. So that's one of those things I'm like, I see it now. I see the vision.
Yeah, I mean, in Oakland and the Ramapo High School area, man, you got to have a vision. You got to have instincts. Otherwise, Greg Toll and his group is just going to run you over. So you got to know.
Let me tell you something about Greg Toll and that group, all right? That group was way after the guys that made the foundation, like Pernetti, et cetera. So, and honestly, in our prime, I would have loved to line up with that group against that other group because they became the modern era of North Jersey football. And by the way, they're all friends. And if you went to Ramapo, you went to Ramapo. We're a brotherhood there.
I probably missed it, but you've had a lot to brag about so far this year for the American, and Tulsa being the latest, but also USF with the wins that they got. I was really rooting for ECU on Saturday against BYU. You'll be at ECU on Thursday. Just so far, the start that you guys have had, you've done the rebrand really well.
You didn't miss it. It's actually a timely question. We hadn't talked about it yet, but listen. You control what you can control, right? Rebranding and a process and like how are we going to recast the brand? What are the tenets going to be? How do we launch it? What does Soar the Eagle look like? Is that a new commercial asset? Like we control that stuff. What I don't control is what goes on between the lines on Saturday or what goes on the basketball court or the soccer field, the tennis court, in the pool. So the tailwinds, Joe, have been amazing. Having 3 unbeaten teams going into week 5, Memphis and North Texas are both 4-0. You got Navy at 3-0. You got 3 others in Rice, South Florida, and Tulane that just have 1 loss. 11 of the 14 teams in our league are 500 or better, right? Great stats. The fact that 64% of our non-conference games have been won by the American this year, which puts us right up there with the ACC that's 167. The fact that we beat the ACC in games, the Big 12, the SEC, the Big 10. I will not get into talking about playoff contenders because it's freaking September. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's not get crazy about the playoff. But the fact that we've got those things to brag about are great.
We swear in this program, by the way, we have Jersey pride too.
So but Memphis also has the longest win streak in the country nationally at 8 games. But when you think about our key wins against Florida and against Kansas State, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Duke, Boise State, I think we have at Media Day, I got a lot of questions about, what was going to happen this season. And I kind of said it casually at the end of my speech that we're going to do a talking on the field. And while some of these games have not played out our way, I'm really encouraged by what we're seeing. And I think that this league schedule is going to be an absolute gauntlet for teams this year, because the thing you guys should remember is competitive depth. Like, we really have it. And even at East Carolina, like Blake, he's 10 games on the job, right? He's 7-3 as the coach. Like, that guy's done a great job. And outside of some untimely turnovers in that game on the weekend, right? It's really the difference. But they're going to have a tough game against Army. But what I know is we count on that stadium, on Dowdy, to be one of the rowdiest environments in our league. And man, oh man, like, it almost felt like my TV was shaking on Saturday night. Like, that's an East Carolina environment. And I think that's one of the great assets of East Carolina that they bring, is they bring a football atmosphere like you don't see in other places.
I'm glad you brought up that aspect of ECU, because I had jotted that down in terms of like what you're trying to do for the conference itself, how you're trying to position yourself in branding. And I think some schools that have been forgotten for a variety of reasons. ECU, I feel like, and I've been here 30 years, I feel like ECU is always finding itself on the short end of a lot of these changes when they've got this incredible brand that people recognize and incredible fans that when they're good, and I mean, even through the lean years, they're riding hard. So from a commission, you're trying to do the totality of the league, but also how do you help a school like ECU rekindle that interest and let people understand, yeah, this is a great school that when they get cooking, you got to watch them.
Well, I think Saturday night's a great example. Like, if I were Chancellor Rogers and John Gilbert, I'd be rolling those clips of that environment on every screen on campus, and I would utilize as much of that as I possibly could for all the materials that they put in front of donors and supporters as they build their brand. But East Carolina is one of those places that's great about college sports. Why? The whole damn place, the city, revolves around the Pirates, right? Because that's what there is in Greenville. There's East Carolina. And how we help them is just to think about everything they do as a brand. Like, one of the things we're pushing across the league is more collaboration between each other and between the conference and schools in content and digital media and social. And I think East Carolina's really ratcheted up their game and how they do this. Like, they're creating really unique content and they're building their brand through storytelling. It's not just about, here's a photo, we won the game. It's like there's storytelling going on. And I think that's the most important thing. I keep going back to that. The way to build your brand is to consistently tell your story and to be clear about it and to be precise about it. And listen, for Tulane, for East Carolina, because I know they got Tulane coming up too.
Yeah.
They have 2 great opportunities coming up that actually they have 3 that a lot of our schools don't get one of. Right? How you build your brand, you play on ESPN on Thursday night. And while I get they're challenging for campus, like I remember playing a Thursday night game when I was in college in 1992. The brand value and recognition you get out of Thursday night, because you're pretty much the only show in college football on, that's your opportunity to tell your story. And they got Army, and then they're going to have one at Tulane. They're going to have one at Tulsa and Greenville. Like, they have 3 opportunities to really amplify their brand and who they are, because East Carolina is a tried and true and unique brand. But those opportunities, like, you can't buy it. It's so important.
All right, looks like Joe's changed his location for a 3rd time.
This is like a Where's Waldo game.
I know, it really is.
You'll like this part. You'll like this part. My phone just said it was too hot and it shut off in the middle of it because I turned the car off because I felt like the car was interfering with the signal. Tim, this is quite an introduction to the OG. I promise we don't treat all commissioners this way. We owe you a natural light.
No, you don't.
APC Commissioner Jim Phillips, if you ever text him, hey, what about those Joe guys in Raleigh? He might tell you some things. He might tell you some things. We got 4 more minutes. I got one more. I had one more question I didn't have jotted down, but you mentioned something that I wanted to bring up before we get out of here. But I know Joe probably has one more thing. But we got about 4 more minutes here. But
we can keep going. Keep going. I can go to 2:20.
All right, Joe. What do you got, man?
I kind of heard most of your answer about ECU, and just building off of the success from the start of the season. I know you're saying it's too early to talk about playoff contenders, but it does feel like these early season games out of the league, like beating Boise in week 1, that feels like it's really big for your league and for them to be included in the playoff this season.
I think every one of these non-conference wins is big, and I think everybody's perception, Joe, is like your results against the autonomy opponents are more important than your result. That's actually not true, because Boise State represented the group of 5 in the playoff last year. And while I get personnel changes and whatever, South Florida didn't just beat them. Like, they handled them for 4 quarters. That game was never in question. So I think that was important. But what I'd also tell you is then they go beat Florida. Obviously important, right? Tulsa beats Oklahoma State. Okay, important. Memphis beats Arkansas. Important. You know what one of the most important wins was that we had that not a lot of people are talking about? North Texas boat races Washington State. It's a big game. Like, that's a big, important non-conference win, because at the group of 5, soon to be group of 6 level, it's important that conferences make their statements there too, right? It can't just be about who you play out of conference that's in the autonomy. And I think wherever we've been, like, we haven't won all of them, but we're competing and we're showing the competitive depth and the grit of the league. And I think that's something that's going to continue to be on display.
And I know Tulane just had a difficult result, but when you have a high-profile transfer and Darian Mensah leave, it says a lot about a program. It says a lot about your conference when A, John Summerall stays there, and B, they're able to get a quarterback the quality of Jake Retzloff. I mean, I think, like you're saying, there's more to than just winning out of the league. I think there's a formidable slate in your league.
There is, and the league schedule is going to be a gauntlet. It really is. And, when you have 14 teams too, like, not everybody's going to play each other, but, we've got some real matchups coming down the pike that are going to be interesting. Like when, Tulane goes to Memphis and Navy hosts South Florida. Like, there's some games out there that are going to be crazy. Even, East Carolina going into to New Orleans. Then you got Tulsa coming back to Greenville. Like, the Army game this week is going to be a tough game. What I like about the slate, and I think our media partners really like it, is this: we have competitive depth. Like, there's going to be a lot of really interesting matchups. You have to play a little bit of a, game of craps when you put the schedule together, because we build the schedule trying to identify the games that we know are going to fit in broad ESPN windows, like the national windows. And some of those you get right, and some of them you eventually won't. But given how the start has been, I like the way our schedule is plotted out. Like, I think some of our best matchups are going to be showcased. And Summerall is like Blake, is like, Ryan Silverfield, who doesn't get enough credit for what he's done there. Like, that guy's never been blown out in a game, and all he does is win, right? Mm-hmm. Alex Golish and what he's doing, what Eric Morris is doing, Trailer at UTSA. Like, I could go every single coach in the league, Monken, Newberry, like, you name it, including some of the new coaches. But these guys are figuring out ways to find success with 50% of their roster being new players. I don't think every coach in America can do that. Like, what John Summerall did last year, I think, is a great example. And people are like, well, how does Army win, your league? Army had a special player in Bryson Daly, and those kids are in that locker room for 4 years. They don't leave.
Right.
So there's a lot of those factors that come into play when we look at our league and where it's going to end up.
So I wanted, before we say goodbye, and again, we appreciate the time, I wanted to go back to something you said about private capital. That raised an eyebrow for me. And I'm going to take you up on the transparency position that you appreciate. Private equity, private capital. I know there's nuance there. I find it all bad for college athletics. I can point to any number of studies and reports that show you the negative effects of private equity when it gets into your business. And I'm a result of that, by the way. The media business has been just slaughtered by private equity. So I'm curious, in college, Booster gives a lot of money. You put a name on a building, or you get access to the coach and various other things. I understand those dynamics because you're dealing with humans and they're pulled to the university. Private equity, private capital, and the nuance in there, they don't care about those things. They care about a return on investment, and they'll do things they'll do what they need to do to get that return on investment. So how do you, I feel like that's a dangerous game to play. I feel like you feel differently about this given your background, especially with IMG. So how do you balance that with college athletics?
Yeah, I totally respect your opinion, and I do think there are stories out there, to point to, and cautionary tales, about outside investment. But the other side of it is that, there's not been a successful business in American history that hasn't taken outside capital to accelerate their growth. Some work out well, some don't. There are hostile takeovers. There's leverage buyouts. Like, the thing I think the industry needs to warm up to is there's 100 ways to cut it, right? Like, private equity, the word equity implies ownership and control. And I think that's what people worry about. But, my point of view is whether you establish a relationship with a firm to do set up a credit facility that schools can sort of draw down capital on, and there's a things they can invest it in to create more value, and that partner is going to share in the upside with you down the road, that's predetermined. I think that's a lot easier because, like ECU might wake up and say, we don't want to take any private cap. Fine, don't take it. Yeah. But UAB might want to do it to accelerate, some of the things that they're trying to do. So to me, what I would say about it is I don't think anybody is fully determined how it should play out. My own personal experience in a couple of businesses that I had the opportunity and the fortune to run, when I was within the Endeavor family or IMG, played out really, really well. And I'll tell you why. Not about the money. If you pick the right partner in private capital, you get access to expertise and people that you don't get in the college business. And to me, this is not just about cash. It's about how do you find people that can bring capital to the table and help you grow your enterprise. Because if they're going to get in the boat with you to grow it, then why shouldn't everybody share in the upside? The idea of taking somebody's capital and them having a call on that money, and if you don't have it at the right time, having control, like, that's not a thing that colleges and universities can even physically do. So, but I would go all the way back to the beginning, Joe, which is my point of view is that it needs to be discussed. Yeah. I don't think it's for everybody. It may be done on a school by school basis, but the reality is there's going to be a deal in the marketplace before the end of the calendar year, and whether that's at a conference or a school or whatever it is, because the capital is something that everybody needs to create more revenue streams and more value that are more sustainable in the future.
Yeah. Anything else, Joe?
No, we could do the next show from Leggett's, though. I think that'll be good.
Oh man, we got to do it from the Parker House, not from Leggett's.
Well, we're classing it up.
Yeah, we're classing it up. Parker House and Seagirt. That's the location. Okay. We'll do it on the porch. I'm sure they would love to have us.
You're great, man. You're amazing. I appreciate you taking the time for us. And I'll throw Joe under the bus, even though he's doing me a solid today. He's like, "What are we going to talk to Tim Pernetti about?" I'm like, "Joe, he's a smart guy. You're going to figure it out pretty quickly." And he
I don't know how I feel about you guys not preparing until the day before or the day of. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh, trust me. There's a reason why we all really are.
No, we're from Jersey, man. Come on. Scramble.
No, guys, this was great. This was great, guys. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. And, naturally, if somebody cancels on you and you need to fill in the future, you know who to call.
Tim, we appreciate the time. And let us know next time you're coming through Greenville. We'll do something.
Yeah, I was going to say, we missed you by a week in Greenville.
Hey, all good. I'm coming back for the I'll be back for the Thursday game later, the Tulsa game. I'll be in town for
Tulsa. I'll be there too. We'll connect.
Yep. There we go.
All right, guys.
All right,
appreciate you guys. Take care.
Big thanks to Two Roosters. Check them out online at tworoosters.com. So good that even state fans will eat the ice cream in honor of their opposing team that beat them, the Devil's Tracks, which you can find at Wallace Wade Stadium. But you might not find yourself going to Wallace Wade.
You could be at Lenovo. Stormy Tracks.
Exactly. Get the Stormy Tracks. Look, I'm telling you right now that Two Roosters in the arena is easily the best deal in the building. So with the
not that Jared won't take care of you, but we probably should look at the 2025 pricing because we don't know yet. I mean, I think it's still going to be the best deal.
I'm still going to tell you right now without having looked at the pricing because everybody has to go up.
Everybody went up.
So they still remain the best deal. You catch my drift?
I hope it's not the playoff pricing.
Yeesh. Regardless, Cane season's back. Stormy Tracks are back. Go to Two Roosters. Trust me, it's the one way to keep your kids chill. They're getting a little antsy. You're trying to watch the game. Here, kid, have a Sunday. That buys me at least one period of hockey. So go to tworoosters.com. Big thanks to our friends at Color Graphic. They brought you our summer series, Brief History of Triangle Good. They can bring you amazing car wraps. sandwich boards, flags. You need to deck out downtown Raleigh. They do those signs. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see the Canes playoff sign behind Joe Giglio, right? So, in fact, the Stadium Series banner, we gave one to former Governor Roy Cooper.
Yeah.
So, I
have a couple in the car. So.
We also gave one away at our birthday bash as part of the raffle.
And I still have a couple for the golf tournament on Friday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So if you're interested in any of this, hit them up, sales@colorgraphic.com. Again, that's sales@colorgraphic.com. I had to spend some time outdoors this week putting up Halloween decorations. I also spent some time yesterday cleaning out my car because it just was overwhelmed with, I realized when we went to Wilson and I had not one, but two gigantic Ethernet cables. I was like, I need to do something about the hatchback. So I was outside in my driveway cleaning up my car a little bit. You know what didn't bother me?
The bugs.
Because of Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com.
You think the 100-footer would have worked yesterday?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably.
We really haven't tested that one to its full capacity.
Just see what we can get away with.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's our next out and about?
It's a great question.
Because I won't be here October 9th.
That's right.
I know you had talked about maybe doing something at the local ahead of the Cane season, but I'll be in a car on my way to Philly for a hockey tournament.
That's right. The opener.
So,
oh boy.
We'll find something.
No, we got to figure something out because remember, my StreamYard doesn't support 2 cameras.
No, what we figured out is that camera's broken.
Okay.
We'll test it next week.
Okay.
We'll test it next week. I figured out that
I
old
can already
razor,
tell what's going to happen.
No, I realized that razor. You've always hated that razor. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think yesterday I figured out because I tested it with my computer as well. It's broken.
Okay.
So we'll figure something out.
Okay.
We'll figure something out. Much
felt like we were having a meeting there, but
well, hold on a second. Fine.
We had a meeting.
Thank you.
You need to have a meeting.
You need to have a meeting.
With Gordon Miller.
You really do.
Actually, he needs to have a meeting with his Tigers.
Don't bring him down. Please don't bring him down.
Yesterday, I totally dismissed it. And then I sent you and Gordon that meme of, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. And it was the Guardians coming up on the Tigers. So interesting end to the baseball season.
As we speak, the Guardian, they're tied as we speak. The issue becomes, do they even make the wild card, which is in play?
Yikes.
It's at least in play because the Astros are also letting things run down their leg. So hopefully there's room for the Tigers. Hopefully for Gordon.
Yes.
He's up in Detroit. He's in it, man.
I
He's in it.
I know. So here's what you need to do. You need to distract Gordon from his Tigers. Call him up, 919-447-3377, or just go to the website, millerlending.com/theog. That's our landing page. And have a conversation about what rate do you have right now? What are your goals? And how Miller Lending can help you. That's simple conversation. What are your goals? What is the current situation with the interest rates? Because you're going to hear a lot of people talking about the rates are the lowest they've been in 3 years. Act now. They're trying to get you into something, all right? There's usually a catch. No catch with Miller Lending. So check them out online at millerlending.com/theog or call them directly at 919-447-3377. You take that thing to close, you're going to get a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket from us and a rowback from Joe Giglio. So again, Miller Lending.
The rowback is real.
Yeah, millerlending.com. Make it happen. I think my favorite aspect about the lightning round now, or the social media dump, we're still waiting on Brian to give us a fun jingle for the social media dump.
Okay.
I think he wants to do it to the presidents of the United States of America.
She's dumb. She's dumb. She's in my head.
Yeah, it's like, it's dump. It's Giglio's on the toilet or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But what I love about the social media dump is not just Joe sending me things.
It's everybody.
Now
people send me things all the time now too.
So now what's funny is if I look at our Instagram direct messages, I'll have people, because it looks like we've also derailed their algorithms.
Yes.
Right?
It's glorious. It's glorious.
So for instance, I'll give you an example of how we have completely screwed up your algorithm with the social media dump. We got a listener to send us one from Only Degenerates. I figured this is like your website.
Yeah.
Only Degenerates Official. I should probably go to bed. Also, me at 3 a.m. betting on New Zealand Collision Course League.
What?
So let's watch this.
3, 2, 1,
Oh, so it's just two large men running into each other.
With no equipment.
Zero equipment. We are not doing this at the OG Birthday Bash 3.
That guy's dead.
He is knocked the hell out.
Knocked out.
So we're not going to do that
That's
at the
like,
OG Birthday Bash.
That's cockfighting is what that is. What? Look at the people are like just sitting there like,
okay. I don't know about that. This is another one that was sent to us from a listener. This is German
train pulling? Bus pulling?
No, it's German bus pulling up to the curb.
Parking? Oh, we got to do this.
No, this is a tram. So this tram is pulling up and they're trying to get it lined up with these various, like you get points for how close you get the arrow to the middle.
To do this. We have to do this.
So
but it has to be like the Toyota with no cam. Can we do this at the Bond Brothers?
Yeah, well, I don't see why we can't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, this is a German tram pulling up to a stop, and they're trying to see how close they can get it to the middle of the platform to match up with the arrow.
Cheering? What are we?
Well, they're cheering to see how close the arrow is to the 500 point line.
We got to add this.
Okay, we'll add it. You want to do this with a car?
Yeah, and there no backup cameras.
All right. I'm with you on that. Let's see. Oh, this is another one a listener sent to us. This is apparently car jujitsu.
I'm sorry.
So the setup here is that there are two guys in a compact car with their seatbelts on.
Are they about to beat the shit out of each other?
As somebody pointed out in the comments, this is the thin line between murder and porn. So here's the clip. Here's how it unfolds.
And we're off. Immediately, both competitors block the seatbelt escape from their opponent. It looks like Legoo is in trouble. Jennings has the jump, and he has the...
Oh, this man is wrapping the shoulder harness around this other man's neck. And, of course, you see the ref in the back line. I'm just watching, make sure nobody dies.
Seatbelt around the neck of Legoo. Sliding into mount. Legoo is in a tough position. He's still stuck in his seatbelt in the passenger seat.
That man's about to get choked out. He's about to get choked out. We're not doing that. We're not doing this at the OG Birthday Bash. No. Absolutely not. We don't have the liability.
What kind of waiver did they sign?
Right. We do not have the liability insurance for that.
Who are these sick fucks watching this?
We just don't.
I wouldn't bet on that.
This was sent to us from another.
I would bet on the parking thing though. That is pretty cool. I like that.
So this is from a Instagram account called Carolina.Canes. This is from a week ago. Items you can't bring into the Lenovo Center this season, part 2.
Is it a massage table?
That's a massage table. Golf clubs, can't do that. Got it. Can't do a cheese grater. Okay. Can't do we can't bring that traffic cone because it doesn't say Lenovo Center on it.
That's right.
Also, I'm pretty sure that's a picture of Tony D'Angelo. Can't bring him back. That traffic cone. Oh, I see why they got it. I see why you sent this to us. A Rantanen jersey.
Love
Incorrect. Incorrect. I keep it on me all the time.
I keep that thing strapped.
January 6th, I will be at Lenovo Center for the Dallas Stars in the house. Can't stop me. I'm wearing that Rantanen jersey when they're in town. All right. This you said okay. This is from Sean from The Onion. No one on Pat McAfee's show notices that AJ Hawk has been dead for 3 days.
No.
Okay. This requires context for the joke. If you're familiar with the Pat McAfee show, AJ Hawk is somewhere remote.
Mm-hmm.
And he joins the show remotely and he just sits there. He doesn't move.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's smoking a cigar. He doesn't really add anything. Sometimes he drops an Epstein list joke because I guess that still slays. Just released the list already. Regardless, that's funny because would they know? Would anybody know? Sorry, I enjoyed that gallows humor. This also was from a listener. Most hated team in every state. Zoom and enhance. Let's go to North Carolina.
Hated team?
Most hated teams in every state. The Carolina Panthers are the most hated team in their own state. Accurate?
Wow.
Accurate?
Wow. Wow. That whole map should be Kansas City, by the way.
Yeah, everybody's
Other than
everybody's
Missouri and Kansas.
All right, now let's get to the portion of things that you sent to me.
Okay.
In your social media dump. I ain't no bitch. I'm going to come after you.
Oh,
Coach Fran Brown on dealing with other
the
programs tampering with his players.
And this was even before he was feeling chesty from beating Clemson.
So I have not listened to today's episode with Bomani Jones and Spencer Hall. Spencer Hall joined us a couple of weeks ago to talk about the dynamics of the area and everything else. And I believe Spencer referred to Fran Brown as the DMX of college football.
Okay.
Let's hear.
How you deal with guys getting poached? I don't care, bro. Dudes be trying to push up on my wife. She bad. It's just the game, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do. I don't care, but like, don't let me find out, and then I see you. Because I ain't no bitch.
Yeah.
Right?
But you take it that personal if like a school comes and gets a guy.
But like, I'm gonna come at you, like, yo,
Right.
what's up, yo? Like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm gonna see you, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple dudes I called, and they try, hey, lose my line. You better like, man, shut up.
I love this dude.
Jersey.
So all right, so where's he coaching next year? Where's Fran Brown? Where is Fran Brown coaching next year?
Could be any place. Got that Georgia pedigree, Jersey.
Trying to pull up on my wife? Like, that's what he said. He's like,
I know, she's bad.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
All right. This was sent to us from a listener as well. This was going viral. Greg Olson was pissed at Dave Portnoy. I guess Olson does a hit with John Gruden and Dave Portnoy at Barstool. Let's find out.
The shirt with the hat.
Well, the hat is just because I haven't done my hair this morning.
A logoless hat. It looks like you're heading straight to the NLCS or something to call a
Never
game.
No, I got
Unbelievable, just straight look here.
Hey, listen, I'm just going to be honest. If I'm going to keep getting a hard time from this show, I might just bag Monday morning. And just be like, you know what? You guys are on your own. Deal with it. Good luck.
Well, I mean, this look, it was preposterous. So I will try not to. You did bag it last week, by the way, but I'll try.
I might bag it again next week.
I'll try not to get in on you, but at least don't look like you're going to be an AL ump or something. Okay. You guys had a great segment. First of all,
at what point are you like Mr. Fashion? You've got some bad outfits. You're real critical of everybody else's look for a guy who's not the best looking guy in the world. Let's just be clear.
There's a difference between best looking, not great looking, and fashion. I can't control how I look. This is how God made me, Greg. But I can wear nice clothes and not look like no effort over here. Can we move past it?
I don't know. It's your show. You tell me.
Yeah, we're gonna move past.
What? I'll be the first to admit.
Is Greg on Fox?
Yeah, he's on Fox.
Okay.
I'll be the first to admit I don't get Portnoy. I don't get it. I'm not saying because Portnoy, I think everybody has known a guy like Portnoy in that he will absolutely shit on you any chance he gets. But the minute you say one thing, he gets, I'm going to war with you now. It's over. I'm shooting my people. I mean, the man's on tip. That's one thing I'm mad that Greg did not point out. I'm like, hey, yeah, cool. You can, bash my look all you want, but at least I'm not on my tippy toes in every photo taken of me with fans.
Yeah. The only clip I had saw from that was they were going in on Belichick.
Oh, were they?
Gruden was Greg was super uncomfortable.
Well,
about
yeah.
it. And Gruden was just kind of snickering the whole time. Yeah. So,
and finally, you sent this to me, Jimmy Garoppolo.
First of all,
Jimmy's now doing.
Listen.
He's doing Arby's commercials now.
I tried to tell you this before, and I'll say it again.
Don't. This is not a Popeye's chicken reference, is it?
My people.
Don't do it.
The only ones we're allowed to make fun of anymore.
Oh,
here we go.
Stop it.
Here we go.
Stop it. Also, Jimmy Garoppolo's in on the joke. Clearly,
he is a handsome motherfucker, though.
Looking for a loaded Italian in your area? Text me on 929-ITALIAN to find Italians that are loaded in your area. They are loaded. They are stacked. They are juicy. They're loaded Italian sandwiches from Arby's. Text 929-ITALIAN today to find a loaded Italian sandwich. Only at Arby's. They're loaded Italian sandwiches.
That's, first of all, it's super clever.
So the whole vibe,
the voice, though. We never had any new ideas, Joe. Did that voice sound familiar at all? Canes. guys.
I do appreciate the homage to late night television commercials, but now I'm curious. So let's see here. Hold on a second.
I thought it was fake. I didn't think it was
929. Okay. Wait a minute. Well, here's the problem. How do I 929 Italian, but I need the number, right? So what it was, hold on a second. We're doing this live.
Do it live.
So let me jot this down. So if I do, let's see, I would have to do a 4, an 8, a 2, let's see, a 5, a 4, a 2, and a 6. Got that right? Got that right, right?
Okay.
Italian. Spelled that, make sure I spelled Italian correctly. Let me text this. So 929. Let's see, 929-482-5426. All right, I'm texting it. I'm gonna just text it, "Hi, Jimmy," and see what happens. I'm probably gonna get spammed forever now that I'm texting Arby. I'm seeing if this is legit. So
maybe they send you a coupon.
Maybe they do. I have no idea, but it even says like message and data rates may apply. No purchase necessary. Terms and privacy policy apply. All right, so I just texted, "Hi, Jimmy." Let's see. I might have gotten that wrong. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Anyway,
you're now like those people who send you like, "Hey, how are you doing?" It's been a minute. How are you been?
I have been the subject of a few phishing scams that way. We're like, "Hey, no." One of my
your number.
My personal favorite was one of the ones like, "Hey, crazy night last night. I hope this is the right number." I'm like, okay. And then they said
that crazy.
And then they sent a picture, and I was like, no. Big thanks to Brassfield Accounting, one of our OG corporate champions. BrassfieldAccounting.com is the website. You need a fractional CFO. Like, for instance, like going back to the start of the conversation, like, are you guys making money? Well, yeah, we're making enough money for me and Joe to make a living, obviously. Keep it really, really simple. We are ad supported. But you might find yourself as a small business, having your revenue streams, but some of that also might be funded by government grants, right? And there's a lot of red tape and can be some confusing tax documents to come along with that. That's why you need a fractional CFO. It's above your head. It's okay to admit that.
Don't try this on your own.
And you don't need a full-time CFO. You just need somebody who can handle these things touch and go. That's where Chris Brassfield Accounting comes into play. So hit him up in Homer, Alaska at BrassfieldAccounting.com. Again, that's BrassfieldAccounting.com. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. I need to find a new obsession, just like you found a new obsession. I had the Gleazy dogs a while back. You can get OG Light, by the way, at Butcher's Market. The steak tips are always fantastic. The chicken, the
signature chicken.
The signature chicken is also fantastic. I will say that my kids have claimed the filet burger is the best burger they've ever had.
I just feel like fighting words.
So try the filet burger, see if it stacks up. You can all find it at the Butcher's Market, thebutchersmarkets.com. Big thanks to Chris and Nico and the crew at Bloom and Blinds. They bring you the After Dark. They bring you our conversations about ACC football. And you can hit them up at 919-980-9815. 10 or more window treatments, you are going to get 10% off. So call them at 919-980-9815. Maybe you're a restaurant that has to deal with sunset glare and it bothers customers. Call Bloom and Blinds, and they'll solve that problem for you. Again, go to bloomandblinds.com. And of course, our friends at Whitaker and Hamer, I feel like we're going to need them to come up with a liability waiver for all the OG birthday bash games that we're going to play, including car seat jiu-jitsu. Very, very violent, folks. So hit them up.
That was
WH.lawyer.
That was too much for even me.
WH.lawyer. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. As always, you can call us on the OG Sports Phone. We actually respond to the OG Sports Phone, unlike Jimmy Garoppolo. I still have not gotten a text back.
That's disappointing.
I hope I got the right number.
919
444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
I feel like we need to do one of those types of commercials before you can call a hot Italian and it's you. No? In your row back. You don't want to do that?
No.
Well, maybe I'll do a hot Cuban.
Just substitute another ethnic or
we'll
a
do a
religion
Cuban
in there.
We'll do
see
a
how
Cuban.
far that goes.
Yeah, but we'll do a Cuban. See how that goes. Serve up a hot Cuban. Anyway, call the sports phone. It's brought to you by Nature's Relief. Joe needs one because he's triggered by all the Italian American slander. Well, what was the line in The Sopranos? No, it's Italian American discrimination. So hit up Nature's Relief, naturesreliefhempstore.com. Let's go to 336.
Joe and Joe, Matt from Greensboro. I am 42 years old. You guys are the last lifeline to, in my opinion, the heartbeat of the ACC. And because of that, I'm going to say first time, long time, pleasure to join you. I think you guys need to understand one thing. The Duke University Blue Devils are at the top of triangle good. They are. It's hard to accept that. It's hard to understand that as a state fan or a Carolina fan. But over the last, 10 years, evidence says that that's the case. And tonight, evidence.
What? Evidence?
I mean, 10 years is a little bit of a stretch, sir.
Look, I get it.
Last 3 years. Yeah, 22, 23, 24. Yes.
First and foremost, we appreciate the beginning of the call. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys have found us and you guys appreciate what we're trying to do.
10 years is a lie. A straight lie.
Well, I think what we're doing with, here's what's happening. Here's what I think was happening with that. I think we're kind of making an amalgamation of the David Cutcliffe era.
Okay.
Right? So when you include the David Cutcliffe era, which to get to a coastal championship, and when they played,
that's 12 years ago.
I get that, but my point is, you look at the amalgamation of that year, or that era, getting to a coastal championship, losing to Florida State, right? Almost beating Johnny Manziel in a bowl game. And then you see what they did with Mike Elko, and obviously what's happening now with Manny Diaz in 2 years, and beating State. I think it's more along the lines of Duke fans are going, hey guys, with all the things that we got going against us, look at the results. So when you look kind of like a bang for your buck, and also the context of Duke football compared to the others, I will just simply say they are a top triangle good mountain at the moment. Maybe I'll borrow a bit from Nick Wright, who calls it Mahomes Mountain.
Right.
Who's a top Mahomes Mountain? Well, maybe we have to start doing that. Who is a top triangle good mountain?
They won 5 games in 2020 and 21 combined.
Now, Joe, understand when I say triangle good mountain, it might be the landfill up off of.
It's all relative. I'm just saying, last 4 years,
off of Falls.
I'm with you.
Now it's a park now, right? Isn't that a park? I think they've turned it into a park. Anyway, let's go to 1919.
Hey, this is Kyle in Durham regarding the Carhartt rant on Friday's episode. I get it. It's why I'm not a golfer, so I'm going to refuse to wear rowback. Okay, I'm going to refuse. All right, that's the path we're walking down, guys. We're going to endanger our corporate sponsors with that kind of attitude. So let's let the posers wear Carhartt, and maybe even let's see if they can become a corporate champion. All right, let's keep the vibes positive.
I will look. Rowback is not golf only.
No,
it's not golf only.
It's athletic leisure.
It's athleisure, and the polos, like I wore yesterday, are versatile, very versatile. Okay, so it has nothing to do with golf. Nothing to do with golf. You know who is the most?
So that person worked for Carhartt, and they were mad that we were slandering.
My brother he's like, you gatekeeping Carhartt now?
Oh, okay.
And he showed me. He's like, I have this Carhartt. If I covered up the logo, would you even know? I'm like, hit dog will holler. Hit dog will holler. 920.
Hey guys, Kelly up in Wisconsin. Listen, I'm as disappointed as anybody over this Duke loss. It never should have happened. But I decided, since I'm a math guy and a math teacher, I wanted to pull out the numbers, so I pulled out a little Giglio yellow pad, and I looked on the last 20 years broken down in 5-year increments. The last 5 years, we're 0-3 against Duke, 3-2 against Wake, 4-0 against Carolina. Last 10 years, 1-3 against Duke, 5-5 Wake, 7-2 versus Carolina. 15 years, 1-4 against Duke, 8-7 Wake, 9-5 North Carolina. And the last 20 years, we're 2-5 against Duke, 10-10 against Wake, and 13-6. Big things stand out. Number one, we rarely play Duke. It's just crazy stupid that we don't. But I think any state fan would take 13-6 over Carolina in those 20 years, and at least being 500 with Wake. As disappointing as this is, I'm looking back at it now. Over the last 20 years, I can't be that ticked about losing with Duke again. As long as we're winning against Carolina, I think that's the bottom line, and that's the winning formula that we have. We'll see what happens this year, but if they win this year against Jordan and Bill, 5-0 would be pretty sweet. Thanks, guys.
Kelly doing his own yellow pad stats. Appreciate that. All right, I think we got time one more before Joe's going to head out to Wilson. Let's go to a 919.
Hey, fellas, good morning. Just wanted to share a couple comments with you. First, I was catching up on the podcast, driving back from Asheville after spending the weekend out there with my wife. And in catching up on a couple episodes, we were listening to the mailbag the other day where you were discussing the stolen valor and some clothing items.
Oh, man, I did not realize.
You hit a nerve.
I hit a nerve. I apologize. I am sorry. I did not realize that hit such a nerve. All right, continue.
And during, as we were listening to the podcast, she would kind of tune in and out a little bit and giggle at a joke or two, either an 80s reference or perhaps sometimes you were cursing. But what really set her off and caused her to raise some challenge flags where you guys on 6 different times, I believe, referenced a certain brand as Canadian Goose. And she was disappointed that you guys did not know it was Canada Goose. That was a sore point with her, and she'd like you guys to kind of tighten things up a bit. But she did find some value in listening. She did get a perception or a view into some of my choices relating to retail establishments we'd stop at, like Longleaf Swine or Nature's Relief, and I think she kind of understood perhaps where I came up with those ideas and why we ended up there. But anyways, guys, keep up the good work. Thanks for allowing me to spend some quality time with my wife. And if you are doing any merch kickbacks, she'll take a medium in the Chill Whack bomber. That would work. All right, y'all take care.
Hasn't been that good of a year.
No. We still got to pay quarterly taxes. Sorry.
It's been a good year, but not 1,600 for a jacket.
I say this. I say this with all sincerity. One of the goals of the podcast, as it was back in the radio days, I know what our demographics are. It is 95% men. Okay, 95% men. I understand what our demographic is. However, that being said, I hope that if your significant other, your partner, is listening to this podcast by force because you're forcing them to listen to it while you're in the car, that it is somewhat entertaining for them. Okay, totally. That is always the goal. So that actually warms my heart that in and out, you're going, wait, what are these guys saying?
Also warms my heart that you went to Asheville, help revitalize the western part of the state.
I'll be there in about a month, actually, because I got more college tours to do, and UNC Asheville is on the list. Am I fingers crossed he decides to go to UNC Asheville because it gives me an excuse to keep going back there? Maybe. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. We'll see y'all for an OG Live tomorrow, where there will be a reckoning on the podcast.
There will be
a reckoning on the podcast tomorrow. We'll see you then.